What's up, people? Hello, and welcome back to a very special episode on the channel. That's right, we're new, we're improved, we have a brand new name. We are now known as the Cup Chasers. All right, all right. Yeah, we're going through a rebranding process. I'm excited about the future, about the coming episodes. We will be the Cup Chasers from now on. We got a new crest coming down the pipe for you as well. So thank you for those who have stuck with us, who've been here from the beginning. Thank you to all of those who are new. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe to the channel, get the notification bell on for all those Cup Chaser videos. All right. This segment tonight is about best 11s. And we are going to start with the most recent best 11. Has to be the Manchester City team. What are you saying, Lewis? Do you think this is an easy one? Tough one?
It's funny because people will say Manchester City doesn't have history, and I mean, they do have like old history, like it's old, and then in the middle, it's kind of scantily empty. And then, the recent years, they started winning stuff again. And so, I mean, so that is by definition history. It's a challenge to pick players, not because you can't, but because you don't want to have, well, for me, I prefer to avoid having recency bias, because I think recency bias does cloud how you pick players. And thinking about the guys is like, how far back do you want to go to account for that? Because if you're saying all time, that's like, for example, if we're using a baseball analogy and you're the Yankees, you got to have Babe Ruth in there, right?
Yeah.
But
sure.
but
Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio. I mean, you just start going down the list. It's all the 22 Yankees. So I can see how you could do that with City in recent history.
Right. And so you don't want to do that. And so, you're like, well, let's think about. So I participated and did something. I tried to figure out a lineup, right? And then I was like, well, I'll go with this. And the hardest position for me to pick was goalkeeper. And it's because is it Guardiola? Is Guardiola the manager, or is it Pellegrini, or is it?
Well, here's something that Patrick and I did that might help you with that decision. You are the coach.
Well, it's funny because I had several opportunities to coach, and I'm a big Tiki Taka fan. So I would personally like a team that plays like Pep plays, even though people don't necessarily have patience for it, because sometimes they see it as negative football because you're passing around and you're just moving people into space.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I really care about a goalkeeper that can make a save. And in that case, it makes it harder because I'm not saying Ederson is not a good goalkeeper, but I mean, if I want a shot stopper, I'm being honest, I'm taking Joey Hart. I mean, if you watched him, he wasn't a great distribution keeper at all. He would just hoof it back down the field. He's old school as you get. But if you shot it, not to his left, right, and low. But if you pick the anywhere else in the goal, he had moments, and he won the Golden Gloves, I think 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. And this was against really good Arsenal teams, really good Chelsea teams, really good United teams. So I look at that, and that's probably where it was most difficult for me to pick somebody, because everywhere else was fairly easy, because even with recency bias, these guys, they're good.
Yeah.
So you want me to do them? You want me to give
It's tough to get away from that, right? Because you didn't watch, some of those guys from back in the day, but you have seen Joe Hart week in and week out before, and based on that, we kind of did it where we kind of eliminated all of that doubt, and we just said we'll go with Premier League 1991 and on. And I think that does make it easier as far as Man City goalkeepers. It's really only one for me. I agree. It's Joe Hart. I agree. It's Joe Hart, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just going to take it position by position and discuss what we thought.
Sure. I mean, either way, because I mean, it's funny. Like the formation I have is I have 3 in the back.
Okay.
Because it's interesting. While I remember I was fairly young, so I used to get frustrated by him all the time. He's not in my team, but Lescott. I mean, he was capped for the national team. He was a solid center half, but I couldn't stand him playing center half. Could not stand him. He made mistakes all the time. The time. And the only reason his mistakes were covered is because the guy I did pick, and that would be the captain, Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
And, Captain Head, right?
Shoe in for sure.
I mean, he's an all-timer. I mean, he just got into the Premier League Hall of Fame, which he deserved to be in there. He's, I mean, it's funny because if you compare him to like a Terry or Ferdinand or any of the like famed center halves, he doesn't have the resume they do as far as like in Europe, but he has a resume, and he clearly was a good center half. His biggest issue was he was hurt. He got injured a lot, but when he was on there,
I mean that goal versus I mean he even had some big goals in him. That goal versus Leicester, man.
You know, while that one is big, his United goal. And we was and it was so City could beat him as the year it was 12. It was the 11-12 year City beat United. I think they beat him twice because they beat him 6-1 the first time, and then they won the second game. And Vinny's header was what won the game, and it's an iconic him jumping up 1,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, seen that celebration over and over again.
It meant something because I mean. At that time, United had the banner with how many years City hadn't won anything, and it was funny because I mean I guess City fans might get a little pompous and they could do that to United for a couple of years, but I mean I still respect the history of the game, but you know it was nice to see that go away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big question is who's next to him. Who's next to Vinny? In that center.
I actually did it differently because I think he's.
Oh, that's right. You said 3.
I only did 1 center half because I played I put 2 fullbacks there, and I think it's funny because the guy I have at left back, I guess some would disagree with because, for example, it's not Kolarov because he wasn't a good defender. Going forward, fantastic going. Couldn't defend.
Right.
But the guy who was there is an Arsenal guy, Clichy. That guy was solid.
Fair enough.
Solid left back. Like you wasn't getting past him. I mean, speed wise, defensive wise, in his heyday, it was good. We appreciate poaching all those Arsenal vultures. We really did. And so I picked Clichy. I mean, he had good spurts in the national team, even though he couldn't get in over Evra. I mean, because Evra played left back.
Yeah, it was Patrice Evra. Yeah.
I was confused for a second because I thought I was thinking Chelsea all of a sudden. I was thinking Ashley Cole. I'm like, no, Evra played left.
Right.
But, Clichy was a solid defensive left back, and the thing was he wasn't a big guy, but he was solid, and that's what you kind of wanted. I mean, City don't have a left back. I mean, I think Bernardo Silva is our starting left back now.
Phil Foden,
Nathan Ake or something. But, you know. What Pep wouldn't give for a left back like that right now.
Right.
And then on the right side is Mr. Bandage on his head himself. I mean, people could think Kyle Walker is a great player, but I'd take Zabaleta today.
Yeah, same here.
Zabaleta is just a legend, man. He really is.
Right.
Every
day. He had a shout for my best right back of the Prem team.
Wow.
I thought about him in that. So, yeah, I got mad respect for Zabaleta, for sure.
He's fantastic. And, I mean, you know, the thing is he could play center half as well. So if you played 3 in the back, they don't have a problem playing there. And so I think he was good. But, I mean, it's the iconic. I remember, again, he had a bandage on his head, bleeding through it.
Yeah.
This is I guess, diseases or whatever. We didn't care. Right? And he was playing, man. But, I mean, if we're talking about somebody who really played for the team, I won't say, the other thing that the crest is called, but for the team, if he played for the team, then he was the guy. And him and Vinny played together with Clichy, and I mean, they were good. All three of them together were good.
Yeah.
So those are my defenders. Now, the reason I went 3 is because the guys I got in the middle of the park in front of them take care of the rest of that.
I actually ran into that same thing when I got to the front of this team. I was like, ooh, and I had to change my formation up. But some defenders who I think do get a shout is John Stones. I had a back 4 when I did it, and I had John Stones as the other center back. But yeah, he was my only one that you didn't mention. I did have Kolarov and Walker down as honorable mentions. But yeah, I think that pretty much those are, as far as my experience, those are the best defenders. I mean, Sanya maybe comes in for a maybe. I mean, he was great at Arsenal for a long time.
He was long in the tooth when he got to City.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure. Maybe 1 or 2 good years, but as far as the midfielders, some true class in there. Some true class. What are we saying?
Well, but the reason I don't need another center half is because Yaya Toure is it.
Yeah.
He's box to box, like literally box to box. He played center half in the Champions League Barcelona team. He knows how to play.
So what's your midfielder? What you said? You're playing a 3-4-3, 3-4-2. Okay.
Yes, I have 4 midfielders. So I have Yaya and Fernandinho next to each other.
Yep.
Which is how they played. And both of them could play the center half.
Mm-hmm.
And so Vinny is fine behind them.
That's a strong spine.
And the thing about it is you got to actually see them play together. If Fernandinho's peak would have been a little bit sooner before Yaya started to wane, there was nobody going through that midfield. But they literally peaked when the other one fell off. That's how it happened, and it was. But it's a solid spine, solid leadership there. I mean, you can't have better guys in the middle of the park like that. And it's funny because I have De Bruyne, but he's gonna play my. I'm not sure if I want him to play my 10 or I want him to play wide. It was kind of hard because with De Bruyne there, I was like, well, De Bruyne could play there. But then you got the magic man on the outside on the left, Silva. And Silva and De Bruyne, De Bruyne plays so well when he goes out wide.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good when he drifts. And Silva can do the same thing. He just goes the opposite side. And so it was hard. So I put Silva on the left side. And I stuck De Bruyne in the middle of the park because Kevin De Bruyne with Fernandinho and Yaya Toure.
All he has to do is pass. That's it. That's all he's going to have to do is pass. That's it. You don't have to work. Yeah. He's Mesut Ozil at that point. You don't have to work a bit in that.
He doesn't go backwards at all.
No. He just stands there, receives the ball, gets the pass.
Doesn't have to. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, well, who's left on the right? Because Kevin could go over there too. And I was like, well, he drove me crazy. But he wasn't Jack Grealish where he wouldn't cross the ball. And that's Mr. Nasri. Sammy Nasri He was so good for me. I know. I told you. I the Arsenal coach.
Oh my god!
I mean, that's more of a Milan coach, if anything, right?
No, he left.
No, they took him straight from Arsenal.
He came from Arsenal. It was Kolo Toure, Clichy, and then Nasri in that order.
Adebayor eventually.
So that means Arsenal sold Nasri from Milan. Yes. Picked him out of Italy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But Nasri was ridiculous on the right side.
He's stupid. Yeah, he's
ridiculous
player.
If he didn't get lazy, he would. He is literally the epitome of it's all in here. He's the epitome of that because he had a terrible mentality.
Surprisingly, you just made me change one of my players for up top.
You really did.
Yeah, because you just said he got lazy, and you're right.
He did, but
players do that.
Let him. He's what if Grealish played like him.
Yep.
I'd love him. I'd freaking love him. I'd love him. That would be that.
I was never ever gonna pick Nasri for mine.
Of course, because he
I know Fabregas is probably in there.
He should be. And then you got obviously, you know, I mean, Mr. 9320. I mean,
yeah. There is no other answer.
I mean, Haaland is a wonderful, wonderful player. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And I hope he stays as long and does the same things. But right now, he's a monster.
Yeah, you can't pick. You can't. Haaland's been here 6 months. He doesn't have anywhere close to the history to make this team. Yes, he's a machine, sure, but this is best of our lifetime, not last 6 months.
Yeah. Now, if he happens to stay, which I would appreciate, he will shatter every record.
Yeah.
He's been there. Yeah. He already has most goals in the season.
Aguero has.
Absolutely. I don't know if he'll ever replace Aguero in Man City hearts, but
sir, I hate to be that guy. He wins Champions League this year for them.
That's fair.
It's
I'll give you that. That makes total sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, who's your third up top?
This was so hard.
You did it to yourself with your formation.
Huh?
You did it to yourself with your formation.
I didn't, because basically,
if
you look at my lineup, I'm basically playing Man City from 2012. So all I would do is stick the other guy who played in front of Aguero, which is Dzeko. And Dzeko, City would have if 2-3 years ago, City would have taken him back in a heartbeat. There's no City fan who wouldn't take that guy back. He's still scoring goals.
Yeah, he's still scoring goals.
Yeah. He's still scoring goals.
What's he? He's at Roma?
Yes.
No, I think he's at Inter.
No, he's at Roma.
Is he?
Yeah, let me double check. I'm pretty sure he's at Roma. That's the last place I saw. But yeah, it would be Dzeko.
Huh.
Dzeko?
Mine was a little bit way different in the end. I ended up playing a 4-3-2-1. Very narrow, very, very narrow kind of formation where my front three had like a 2 and then a 1. And it was all the same people until you get to the front. So it's Torre, Fernandinho, and Silva. And then in front of them is KDB and Aguero. And I had Carlos Tevez as furthest forward.
Dog. Carlos Tevez is a dog. That man's got a dog. That man's got the dog in him. That man was a workhorse.
He's scary to look at.
Right, he's a workhorse of a striker. He had that dog in him. Carlos Tevez is a dog.
Dude.
The reason I pick him is he's too similar to Aguero.
Yeah. They just copied it over and had a better version. That's all Aguero was.
Yeah, it's just that, which is the reason I didn't pick him. And then he had some really rough I don't care seasons there. And so,
well, I mean, I can only imagine that Man City team kind of did put Tevez on an island by himself there for a little while. They did leave. They took advantage of the work rate he really had. They really did.
They did.
Speaking of Man City hearts, though, he went turncoat on them. So.
Oh yeah. Can we have our all-time turn? What's that?
Backstabbers.
Are you just trying to make us mad? Because Ashley Cole's just going to make every team that we talk about.
But it was world class, man.
He's the number one on the turncoat list. Is Ashley Cole.
And he's my number one left back for Chelsea. So
one left back for all.
Easy.
Yeah. For one left back for England, for Arsenal, for Chelsea, for Premier League.
Easily. Right backs where we're gonna have a big problem between all of us.
I struggled with that.
I did too with our squad.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lewis, but I have Joe Hart in goal. We got you said Zabaleta on the right, Company in the center, Clichy on the left.
Okay.
Got Torre, Fernandinho sitting next to each other. We got Silva and KDB. We got Aguero, Nasri, and Dzeko.
Damn.
By the way, Dzeko is at Inter.
He is at Inter. I just see that. Yeah.
Dzeko's a poacher.
Yeah, there you go. I think, with this squad just feeding him all day long.
Because you can choose. You can play it in the air or you play it on the ground.
Oh,
yeah. And the fullbacks, guess what they do? They cross the ball.
Our best 11 versus your best 11 would actually be a really good matchup.